This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Because, Dolphin fans are always willing to get back on the hamster wheel, and they think that the top pick is going to save your ass.
Sure.
And they think that the top free agent's going to save your ass. And if it's not orchestrated right, nobody saves you. And it doesn't matter how talented a player is. You could be Mitch Richmond and you're really special and you're stuck in Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of the way it goes in life. And it's funny how the team you cover, right? Everybody that comes to play under Riley through Spo, they play the best basketball of their entire career. They have the pinnacle of their success there every single time. It's amazing. Even Shaq, who got old and fat and slow and overweight and all that, had to lose the weight to come back to be a pinnacle again. And after that, he never reached that pinnacle again. And that shows you what this organization does, even for players that are almost giving up on themselves, how they can resurrect everything. When you have that structure, look what happens. You're 6-4 right now, something none of us really expected.
Not with this schedule, and not with the way the season shaped up and all the road games. So I totally agree.
Injuries.
And you're right. No Tyler Hero at all. No Bam for the now tonight. It'll be 3 3/4 games.
How we missed for a game,
or
right?
We missed 3 games also. So absolutely, they've been pushing through. I would disagree with you. Everyone plays their best, because let's give LeBron James his flowers. What he did in Cleveland, what he's done in LA. So he probably is the exception, because he would be great anywhere.
But no. It is the example. Did LeBron not play the pinnacle of his career when he got here?
To that point, yes.
Yeah,
to that point, yes. And then
that's my point. And by the way, here's where he broke through in Game 6 against the Eastern Conference. Here's where he really, really sharpened the diamond and he got all the coal out of the diamond. And then he went on to accomplish more. But it started with the trampoline right here, baby. And so for me, I've been watching for 25 plus years under Riley. I don't give a shit if you're Ike Austin. You will lose 100 pounds and you will play your best basketball you've ever played in your life. I've been watching this forever, and that's just a luxury that you can't take for granted when you watch. Look at the Panthers for many years until you got the right owner, who then got the right general manager, who then got the right coach, and then you got the right players, and then everything falls in. And now the Panthers are becoming the Heat, where everybody is also
no. You look at what Carter Verhaeghe was and how he's become Mr. Clutch and Mr. Overtime for this team also, and there is the absolute lifting of their games of guys who were third and fourth line guys. Other places are being elevated.
Backup goalies. We find goalies that end up going somewhere else and helping others.
And all the guys. Yes, obviously, yes, absolutely. Knight now and what he's going to do in Chicago. So
Driedger ended up helping another team after he left us. And I mean, come on, man, dude, it's crazy. But it's the beauty when you have the structure up top. And that's what I'm trying to tell Dolphin fans. Until you fix that structure up top, nothing's ever going to fall into place. You're going to need dumb luck. And does that happen? Of course, dumb luck happens. But man, if that's what you got to hope for,
right.
Oh my God.
And the example of that is the Dallas Mavericks, who finally got Cooper Flagg and even now can't make it right because they have Nico Harrison and they're talking about changing the general manager. So you can luck into something, but you got to make something out of that luck, or else that luck, like Luka, just goes away. And if you don't trade him away, he walks away because they don't want to be stuck in those situations. And what's really interesting, and this was a point made after the game on Saturday against the Blazers, the Heat are also now playing a style that's so much fun that if you didn't want to be here for no state income tax, if you didn't want to be here for warm winters, you now could be here to play arguably the most fun style of basketball in the NBA under a coach who will constantly adjust to whatever is needed at the moment. So if you say, and again, you and I have debated this last week in our Accurate Pembroke Pines report, hey, John Morant doesn't fit in, don't want him, and I can understand that. But I can tell you this.
I'll take it.
The Heat would get the best out of John Morant. And John Morant would become a better player with the Heat, with a coach who will adjust again. You give Eric Spoelstra the clay, he will mold it into something that will resemble success. That's the difference. You have to have that type of coach. Paul Maurice has shown that. Paul Maurice told his guys, hey, I don't care what you were. You will be a tough son of a bitch who will wear down the other teams. That great video we've seen. So by the third period of a game or the seventh game of a playoff series, you won't want to be playing against players like you. That's what culture is. Culture is not, I wrote about it in my Sunday column. Culture is not a uniform. Culture is not a for people outside. It's something within. We're seeing it with the Heat. We're seeing it with the Panthers. We've never seen it with the Marlins and with the Dolphins. You can go back to Don Shula and what they had culture then. And since
a long,
Jimmy was going to bring it, you thought Saban was going to bring it, you thought this guy was going to bring it, and nobody's brought it.
I tell you who's bringing it. Jaime Jaquez and his fearless play. I mean, it's like we're expecting some kind of a, explosion down the middle of the lane for a dunk. I worry about his health a little bit.
Sure, but let him enjoy it. Let him enjoy it.
But man, I love the free-flowing way he's playing and the aggressive nature to his game. Because we talk about John Morant. John Morant attacking the rim would open up so much for the shooters for the Heat. I mean, if the Heat can shoot threes and they can score, guys like Jaquez and a guy like John Morant who would be steroids to the hoop, all that kind of stuff really opens it up. And you got to have a little bit of both. And really, Jaquez has really found his place right now. I really love what I'm watching.
That goes back to your opening point here in today's Accurate Pembroke Pines report. Because of this, Spoelstra has given the freedom to be your best self. So Jaquez attacks, and Davion Mitchell attacks, and Pelle Larsson attacks, and Simone Fontecchio attacks because he said, hey, just do it. I just posted a story at sunsentinel.com about that in my notebook. Attack. And players love nothing more than putting their head down and attacking the glass and attacking the rim. And that's what we've seen. And we've seen it from Jaime. He has been set free now by this offense. Last year's offense, he was parked in the corner doing something he simply does not have the skill set to do, knock down corner three-pointers. Now he's been liberated. So come to Miami. Almost sounds like our market down here, and you will be liberated because that's how it's played out for the Heat.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been a lot of fun right now to watch. And by the way, today I gave my Sloman's key decision of the game. I wanted to give it to Drew Smith because you, as a Heat organization, you've hung in there with him. He's gone through some tough times with the injuries. I've always been a fan of the kid because to me, you need guys off the bench that are true pros, that are always prepared and always ready to contribute. And they're not bitching and complaining about their playing time and all that. They're like real team guys. And to me, that's all I've seen from this kid. And he had a season high 22 minutes, had 13 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals, shot a super efficient 4 of 6 from 3-point range. I mean, from the field overall. So I just, he's not the star of the team or anything like that, but you always need to have a Drew Smith be your number 2 or number 3 guard on a team. For me, I always want to have a pro like that on the bench.
And that's why Heat fans are now sitting back, and it's a good problem to have, as Eric Spoelstra would say, rich people problems. But when Tyler comes back, who doesn't play? And Pelle has been so good. And Jaime has been so good. And like you pointed out, Drew has been so consistent. It's going to be a tough decision. And that's not even getting to the rookie, Kasparis Giacochonis, and whether he should play or not. But again, we have been in the desert for so long without water, with players who weren't good enough. And we were forcing guys into roles as 7th, 8th, and 9th men. Now you have quality players in those roles. So, hey, when Tyler comes back at the end of this month, Eric Spoelstra is going to be faced with a very, very good problem to have.
What's the latest on Bam?
The listing it day to day, I thought from the get-go, you get that kind of toe strain, it's at least a week. We know he's out against Cleveland Monday, the first game of the 2-game set. They play Cleveland again on Wednesday. Would not be surprised if we wait to the NBA Cup game on Friday at Madison Square Garden, national television on Prime. That might be the day. Again, I think you can be patient with Bam and to a degree, Big O, patient with Tyler because it's not capsizing. There was a thought, what if the Heat get off to a 2-8 start?
Right, if you're bleeding, yes.
We're going to have to rush Tyler back. No, take your time. We've seen too many players in this league rush back and it just set the entire team back trying to make them fit in. I have no issue. Take the time you want so that when Bam comes back, he's back. And when Tyler comes back, he's back. And then you move forward and you will be rolling in even more good players.
Now, it's funny because you and I have lived it. Now with Bam, this is not the question with Bam. It's more with Tyler. When Bam comes back, he was already playing with the guys. He kind of has his, his support or super roll type of thing that he does. So he'll fit in right away. Do you ease Tyler in, or do you put him right away as a starter and kind of disrupt the groove that you have? Because you just talked about all the guys that are handling the ball and all that. There is a chemistry and a flow going on right now. Bam has been part of that chemistry and the flow, plus he plays a different position. But Tyler, what do? Do you just immediately put him into the starting lineup, or do you bring him off the bench and slowly kind of ease him in to try to make sure that it doesn't disrupt
Eric might have an out he might not have had 2 or 3 weeks ago. And that is this. The decision would have been before, do you take out maybe a Pella, certainly whether you take out a Norm or take out a Davion. They've got him mauled on the boards the last 3 games. They've also won 2 of the last 3. Khalil Ware has been so meh that I'm not so sure they don't necessarily start small and throw them all out there. Bam and his 4 little friends, meet my little friends, and just let them run out there, score early, working configurations. Matter of fact, I would say this. It is more likely that Tyler Hero starts when he returns than closes when he returns. Because this team now has 2-way options. This team now can play a Pella Larson at the end, and he will doggedly defend for you. Davion will defend for you. Drew Smith will defend for you. So I think it's going to be interesting. I wouldn't necessarily look at Tyler's starting minutes, but I'll be very curious at the close. Because remember, even though they won those games in Chicago and Atlanta in the play-in, and then all those games against Cleveland, they were hunting Tyler Hero at moments of truth, at least in the first 2 games in Cleveland before the blowouts. I'm really curious to see how Eric Spoelstra plays off of that and maybe doesn't try to create 30-something minutes earlier for Tyler. So if the game's in the balance, he can get more 2-way players there at the end.
So are you worried that Norman Powell won't have enough to work on Ware? Because he's been up and down, and I know Powell talked about how he's going to ride him and
you can say that all he wants.
All
you know what?
Stuff.
There's nothing more frustrating in sports than the lack of a motor, and there probably is no sport more than the NBA when you're not wearing a uniform, when you're out there and everyone can see it, and you don't have that motor. And yes, Paul Maurice gets on his guys for not dumping and chasing and working hard and hitting hard, and that's part of hockey. I don't know what's going to happen with Khalil. I think he has all the skill in the world. He has a beautiful 3-point shot. Yeah. He can be rim deterrent, especially in the zone or at the rim. He'll get better at that. But, man, you talked at the top of Accurate Pembroke Pines report about how the Heat gets the best of you. But all the Heat demands is every last breath. Right now, Big O, I think you'd agree, Khalil Ware is not an every last breath player. He's not a Zoe or a PJ or a guy like that. Can you coax that out of him? Hey, they couldn't at Oregon. Mike Woodson finally got it out of him in Indiana. Eric Spoelstra, man, he's been through Hassan Whiteside, and it sure feels like he's back there at the intersection of Whiteside again.
Let's hope he's able to figure this out. I see Devin Jordan asking about the trade rumors of Anthony Davis, but I don't even think they would.
You know what? There's a lot of big stuff out there.
But I'm more about Ja Morant. And maybe even I'm not even about Giannis, who's having a hell of a year.
Yeah,
but he's at an age. I think the guy, if there's any trade rumor that I want the Heat part of right now, out of the guys that might be available, it's Ja.
As long as you don't throw draft capital in there, because I'm not sure that Ja right now is the quote-unquote whale. And you need to. You're finally in a position you only want 0-1 to Charlotte. Maybe you're getting that back. And then you're set with your draft choices. So you know what? You want to put pieces in there. You want to talk Tyler. You want to talk Jovic. You want to talk
Tyler.
Blair. I'll sit down and at least listen to you. Protect your draft assets. But you know what? If you can get a bargain at a player who's going to be there, not like you said, an Anthony Davis at his age, not a Giannis even at his age, but a guy that you can build with who's relatively young, yeah, I think you have to at least think about it.
Yeah, I just think it'd be a move that you definitely have to, as long as you're only giving up Tyler and it's a straight up deal,
And
you're
no
not
draft
giving up a
picks,
bunch of
no
picks.
draft capital.
No, you
Period.
can't give up draft capital because you can't trust a kid, unfortunately. You know what I mean? And he's going to be like on a tryout zone for a couple of years because that's all he has left on his contract. If you get him, you'll have 2 more years. And it's like, yo, kid, you got to prove it for 2 years if
There's
you
your
want
test
to
drive. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you can't do what you did with Jimmy Butler and then overcommit and all of that. But if he comes here, that's the one thing I will say. He will play his best basketball, like you said at the beginning of this whole thing.
Absolutely would think so.
That's what I absolutely love. Do you give him any chance tonight against Cleveland?
Yeah, I do, because they're playing better and they realize who they are and what they are. And Cleveland is down. They lost Ty Jerome, had to leave for free agency. Max Strus is out, our old friend, a little bit. Cleveland finding their legs. Look, is Cleveland better than the Miami Heat?
Yeah.
Yes. Can the Miami Heat compete better than they did last year, where they still were shell-shocked over the whole Jimmy Butler thing, exhausted after 2 play-in games on the road? Yeah, I think they'll bring a better game tonight. You know what? Show me a competitive game in one of these two. Regardless of the results, I'll still feel better.
I agree with you on that. And, the one thing I do love about this team going into this game tonight, where they actually, I think they will be competitive, they believe in themselves. They believe in the system. They're really supportive of each other. So when confidence is high, that really helps a lot. And they may not be the most talented team, but they're a confident bunch right now. And I kind of like that.
Yeah, I'd agree. Good feeling right now.
All right, what do you got going on in the Sentinel so folks can check you out?
I wrote my story that's been around, and Nikola Jovic asked after Saturday's game, and he goes, I was terrible the first 10 games. And man, I love when a player takes ownership. I love when a player doesn't say, well, the system is this, or foul trouble, or I've been injured, and just says, I stunk. And that's a huge step forward in maturity. He then goes out, gets a career-high 29 against the Blazers, now against the height of the Cavaliers. Back it up, young man. But you know what? Nikola Jovic very much is really, Big O, growing in front of our very eyes.
Yeah. And even in that game, he had a couple of immature moments. The technical foul he picked up, and then the lazy
step back. What the hell are you doing?
And the lazy 3-pointer that he took, that it was like, yo, dude, let's, the game's kind of worked for a better shot than that.
No, I talked to him after the game. He pulled me over. He sat, he goes, yeah, that was like the Tyler shot against Detroit last year when he had the layup to Chicago, when he had the layup to tie and he pulled the 3. He goes, as soon as I shot it, I knew Spo was going to say something. I go, good. At least you had the recognition, Nico. Yeah.
I was sitting there just like Spo going, oh, come on, Nico. That's not
time out and young man, come talk to me. Exactly.
Yeah, it was like, come on, Nico. But again, the talent's there, dude. And he's just got to build the body up a little bit more. He needs,
if he can, and we're to learn, just like about Khalil. Sometimes these lithe guys just are naturally skinny and sinewy, and that's who they are.
Yeah, but you and I have talked about this. Tayshaun Prince, I thought was going to be broken in the league within the first 2 years. And somehow or another, that tough, skinny son of a bitch became a tough, skinny son of a bitch.
But he did it as a 3 next to Ben Wallace and Rasheed Wallace. Nico's being asked to play 5 a little bit.
But I was still impressed that he was as tough as he was, as skinny as he was.
Mm-hmm.
That was one tough hombre.
Yes.
I got to tell you. All right, follow him on Twitter at Ira Heatbeat and catch his work there at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Ira, we will catch up next week when we return from Madrid.
Bring me some paella, and we'll talk next week later in the week. Thanks, Big O.
You got it. There you go. Ira Winderman. And, of course, our friends at Acura Pembroke Pines. Oh, baby, nobody better than Larry Schlossberg. He knows how to get it done. 15601 Pines Boulevard. Larry Schlossberg, Pat Nasto, Tony Stampone. They are amazing. And right now, got some great deals going on. The Season of Performance event going on. We've got the Integra 2025 model right now, 3.9% financing for 60 months. The ADX, $239 a month, 2025 model, 4.9% financing for 60 months. The RDX, I love that vehicle, $359 a month. My wife drives one. My daughter drove one, 4.9% financing for 60 months. The TLX, beautiful sedan, 2025 model, 4.9% financing for 60 months. They've also got, the lot is loaded, always overflowing, and they've got a fleet of certified pre-owned vehicles. So get on down there so you can pick the car you want, the color you want, the style you want, the model you want, and get the price you want at Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.